Anybody else? Yes.
Two things. In terms of the moral sort of feminist, anti-feminist porn thing, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in terms of social activism that you spoke about earlier, in terms of feminist-based porn that's more like erotica on screen and is more focused on creating safe spaces for queer positive and feminist positive porn. So I think just the fact that the business is so successful allows for those niche groups to exist and continue to grow.
Yes, absolutely. You know, like, honestly, it's like people wouldn't be hurt if they didn't have something to complain about in the porn industry. Just give them that. You know, like I said, from those standpoints, I'm just not convinced by those arguments, but, you know, I will defend to death their right to make those arguments. You know, it's good that there's actually something questionable out there that is allowing people to actually flex their intellectual muscles. You know, like, you can tell that people are still smart if they actually have the brain capacity to get offended by these things, because it's sitting there and it proves that if they're willing to go out there and fight for it and make a stand and stuff like that, that they have actually put a thought into it, they have actually sat there and rationalized and reflected upon what the impacts for them and for society actually are. Okay, you're number two, and then this gentleman here.
I know when Blu-ray, well, became the thing that people started using, like instead of HD, that some producers of pornography started using it, but found that it was a difficult system to use in porn, because then the models had to be, or the actors had to be even more perfect. So what happens when the technology that ultimately started with, you know, a big push from pornography like VHS, like what happens when the technology gets so good that it's that much more difficult for porn to use?
Well, actually, what happens is it causes an adaptation of the industry. I'd actually looked this up, and Jessie Jane, the star of Pirates and Pirates 2, had actually said that it was really, really good for the fact that it actually lended a little bit of realism to these ultra-perfect porn stars. Not only that, but it actually caused some of the lazier ones to actually start taking better care of themselves. She was talking about how her company had actually gotten some nutritionists and stuff like that in, because people realized that with high definition Blu-ray and the advent of these big technologies, that they were going to have to try harder, they were going to have to put out a higher quality product if they expected to keep on selling. So it causes a little bit of adaptation in the industry itself, which, you know, personally I think is good, because I wouldn't want my industry to stagnate. This gentleman here.
Have you found a correlation between how much broadband there is in the country and how fast it is to consumption of porn? Is that more geographic and economic?
I haven't found any reliable data on the correlation between broadband use and porn. Like, you know, for obvious reasons, like, you know, if you give somebody a more efficient way to come up with or to consume it, people are going to go for that. So I assume that the correlation between the two is positive. As for what the numbers actually are, it's really, really difficult to pin down, because it also depends on what you define as porn, what the laws are in certain areas and stuff like that.
Have you done any research or found any data on how torrenting and piracy?
I haven't been able to get into torrenting or piracy as of yet. The lady in the green.
I was going to say, you referred to not wanting industries to stagnate, wanting
Yes.
the product to be improved. But it seems that what we're talking about as a product is actually human bodies here, and I'm a little concerned about the...
It is their choice to get into it, though. Like, I'm sorry, but as a lecturer here, I'm commodifying myself to you right now. I'm selling myself, I'm selling my opinions, I'm selling my voice to you right now, as do all of the other lecturers in here. Like, you know, yes, human beings do get commodified, but they won't strictly get commodified in the pornography industry. And it's not just, you know, it's their bodies and everything like that. Hollywood actors are putting out a similar product, it's just that it's more mainstream and involves less sex. The gentleman sitting down next to you here.
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm alone in thinking that, or my expectation was that this would have more of a feminist kind of approach to it, because porn is something that's a lot different from, let's say, erotica. I think when Gloria Steinem made a difference
Sorry, I'm actually gonna come down here because like I can just hear a cappuccino machine and I can't really hear you.